Casey Hunt with an update on negotiations, fast-moving negotiations apparently, for another $400 billion plus. Casey, what have you learned?
Andrea, that's right. We are almost at the point where they are ready to announce a deal. Kevin McCarthy did put it that way just last hour in an interview he did on Fox News, saying that a deal was done on the small business funding. But our understanding is still, until everything's done, it's not completely finished. And we're still waiting for sources on both sides of the aisle and both sides of the Capitol to weigh in and say that they are going to move full speed ahead with this. But that said, Andrea, right now we're expecting that the Senate is going to be able to pass this afternoon at a pro forma session that they are holding. We are expecting to hear from the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell at that point. And the final wrangling, all the leaders were on the phone with White House and administration officials late last night talking about how to allocate this money for testing in particular was one of the final things they were talking about. There's $25 billion in the bill for testing, but there are obviously some differences between what Democrats want to do, what the White House wants to do, and even what congressional Republicans want to do. Democrats say they want a national testing strategy. You've heard the White House publicly say, the president himself, say he wants governors to take the lead on this. There were congressional Republicans, meanwhile, who were pushing for a bigger role for private industry in making sure that Americans can get the tests that they need. But it does look like we are on track at this point. There's no reason, as of right now, at this rating, our conversation here, Andrea, to think that this is going to get derailed. Andrea.
And briefly, Casey, what about the House? Are they still wrangling over a separate vote so that they could have proxy voting in the future? When would the House come back?
So this is a big question. The Congress hasn't been able to meet in the pandemic. So right now, Republicans want a chance to vote, to do a recorded vote on this new interim package. That means everyone has to come back to Washington. Democrats have been working on a plan to allow people to vote by proxy so another member could vote on your behalf. But right now, we're hearing that Republicans are not ready to make that change. Now, Nancy Pelosi could, in theory, do it with a majority of her members. But the reality is you really need bipartisan buy-in to make such a major change like that. And if they don't have it, I struggle to see how we'll end up with any sort of remote voting plan. Andrea.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.